Yewande,
BabaShola.
you said some men look for certain
Physical qualities.
physical qualities
Yes.
in their partner, or some women
Yes.
likewise. You know,
Yes. They like tall, dark, and handsome.
yeah. And some men are looking at those that are
Well endowed
well endowed, very
or
well put
very
together,
slim
very
and
slim.
model looking.
Is there a red flag?
No, that's not a red flag because we all have preferences.
Okay.
Um, and there's nothing wrong in having a physical spec. I remember I was very much, I had a picture in my mind. My husband should be taller than me. You know, I wanted to have somebody I could look up to. But the reality of what I got is almost just a little bit taller than me. I remember when I first saw him physically, I said, hey, it's a bit short. For what I, because,
Mm.
I've shared before that we met online,
Mm.
but, I was immediately convicted. Now height we go job. I had to speak to myself, but it's okay because at the end of the day, you want someone that is pleasant to look at. You understand, but that should not be the only criteria for why you are engaging in that relationship.
In this day and age, what should one be looking for? What should one consider as very important when you are seeking for a life partner or you are seeking for a serious relationship?
I think we've talked about it in a previous
Mm.
podcast that friendship is important.
Yes.
Someone you can talk to, someone you can share with. That's very important. Friendship, because you're going to be together a long time. And if you're looking at just physical attributes, you look nice together, but can you talk after the cameras are off, after
Mm.
the you've gone into your house? Are you both now just on your phones?
Phones. Wow.
Nothing to talk about. You have your phone, I have my phone. It happens. I mean,
Definitely.
you look good, and both men and women, you have to mm, show up in your best physical self.
That is even at the beginning of the relationship.
Yes.
Towards the end of the relationship, when children begin to leave home, it's only the man and the woman, the father and the mother that are left at home.
Yes.
That will define how close they've always been.
Oh, yes. When the children
When the
has
children have
flown the nest,
they've flown it, yes.
as they say. Yes. Even sometimes you find that people have lost their friendship while the children are growing up. So imagine you had them from age zero, obviously, for 20 years. In that 20 years, if you are not intentional about keeping your own relationship with your partner alive, you could have been drawing apart. Because what happens to some people, like you said, once those children have left, you find that the wife or the husband, well, usually the wife actually, I'm going to abroad
Hmm.
to help my children who are now got their own relationships to look after their children. Oh, she's just born. That's the classic one. She's just born. I'm going there. That's the beginning of the end, though.
Mm.
Because even though it's good, it's very much part of our culture for traditionally the mom to go and support her daughter or maybe her daughter-in-law when she has a baby.
So
Sometimes it's an excuse.
from your experience, 40 foundation in a relationship, what constitutes a 40 foundation in a relationship?
Not having a friendship, that's a faulty foundation. That you both looked at each other, you her, and immediately you get into a sexual relationship, gratifying your physical. It's all physical. It's all about the physique.
Mm.
It's not about the friendship. 40 red flag right there.
But what about those that are already in a relationship based on physical attributes? Is it too
Then they
late?
need no, then we should talk. Where is the relationship going? Because let's be honest with ourselves. BabaShola, we might be considered old school, but some people call it friends with benefit.
Mm.
They are not in it for long term. They are friends. They call themselves friends, and the benefit is the physical, at gratification. It's not meant to be long term. It's like just they call it friends with benefit, but I wonder whether that's really a friendship.
So for the youngsters, what I mean by youngsters, those that are looking to
The millennials or Gen Z,
Gen Zs.
because we're Generation X. We're a bit behind. But this conversation is relevant because we're a little bit ahead. We know what is coming.
What?
So 40 validation is if it's all physical.
Mm. So that is, you consider that to be like a major red flag.
Major red flag.
Okay.
You should actually not get physical if you are looking at somebody for long term.
Yeah, but when I was looking at someone to get serious, that person had to be pretty.
Yeah. When I say don't get physical, I'm talking sexual.
Okay.
So of course, yeah, because men are quite high-minded. I'm not saying women are not too, but we are more interested in that the man has a good job as well. He can provide. Yeah, he can look good, but he also has to be someone who can provide. Provide as in he's working, you know, and he's able to sustain himself. So yes, you should look for pretty. But beyond pretty, what did you
Yeah.
look for in your own?
Oh, yeah. Person had to be, I have to be friends with the person. Had to see if the person is ambitious. See if family again, the kind of family the person um,
It's
comes
coming
from.
from.
Yeah,
Yes. And
very,
thanks
very.
for reminding me about that because I remember saying that if the family that person is coming from are not feeling you too good,
Mm,
then they
it's
don't
a red
like
flag.
you. Red flag. And I
So
think I've mentioned it before.
love can conquer that.
I don't think so. In my own experience, love cannot conquer that.
So if
Yes.
those two are seriously in love, but one of the families are not feeling the other party.
No. Red flag. You either wait until they are feeling them,
Mm,
meaning that let them to get to know you. And some of the reasons why this happens is that sometimes parents have an idea of the kind of person they want their son or daughter to marry. So, for example, your daughter might say, "Oh, this is the kind of person I want." Let's give a very practical one that we know happens a lot.
mm,
You are coming from a Christian background. Your son or daughter said they want to marry someone from a Muslim background or doesn't have a faith. As a parent, what would you do? Imagine one of your children came and told you. Now, you've mentioned that you're a man of faith,
mm.
and your son or daughter comes and tells you, "This girl I want to marry is a Muslim."
Yeah.
Is
For,
that a red flag for you?
it is a red flag, but first thing first is I have to ensure that I don't lose my daughter or my son.
Mm-hmm.
So how I navigate that will be down to my number one, faith, prayers, and at the
Mm-hmm.
same time being practical. But I can't go all guns blazing and tell my daughter or my son that you cannot marry, you cannot do. I
No,
can't do
you
that.
can. You can't.
Mm,
But in terms of your acceptance,
mm,
say he came and said, "Oh, I want to get married as soon as possible."
mm.
What would you do?
I will point out the reason why I'm deliberately saying I will is because at the end of the day, I have come to understand that my children will make their own mistakes. However, don't make the mistakes that I made.
Yes, and this is what we're saying that if the parents are not into you too much, it's
Yeah,
a red flag.
yeah,
Do you see what I'm saying? So you are saying, you said, "Oh, your posture changed."
yeah.
But your posture changed because it's not what your preference is. And so what I'm saying is, if you're in a relationship, both of you need to discuss how your families would feel about it and maybe prepare them. I recently um came across a situation where both of the young people, millennials wanted to get married, but one of them was absolutely sure that that person would not be approved by his family.
Mhm.
So what he did, he tried to warm the family up to for this person, and we all went along with it for a season, because, like you said, we don't want to lose our own,
Mm.
but we also, with time, helped them to see why in the long term, because most of the time it's the short term we're looking at. It's the long term,
That
because
is
you
the
can't
key.
divorce yourself from your family.
That is the key. Long term, you help them see, because there will always be red flags, and that is why we as parents, we have that experience.
Mm.
So it's the long term in helping them to see the ramifications and the complications that lie ahead.
Yeah, because I can use myself as an example. I was in a relationship. My ex
You sure?
my
You sure? You sure?
husband,
You sure you want to go there?
of course, my ex-husband and I were very much in love. You understand? I come from a family where I was very close with them. And similarly, he came from a family that was very close. But there were things that both families wanted for both of us that were not necessarily compatible, the families.
Mm.
But we said, blew that, love is going to conquer it all. However, 13 years down the line, before even 13 years, there were things that were very difficult,
Mm.
especially for me, because I was the woman. In our West African tradition,
Mm.
I was the woman. There was a lot of things that were expected of me that I didn't feel were reasonable or fair. And over time, the pressure became too much.
What could you have done differently?
To be honest with you, BabaShola, I shouldn't have gone there.
Oh my God.
If I were older, or if I had counsel. And this is what I was saying to you about having accountability. People, you understand? In those days, we didn't even do like what they do now, marriage counseling,
Mm.
where you are, because the marriage counseling I had with my second husband, my current one, and my last one, by the way. The way I'm saying
It's a
second,
current one.
current one, please. We have decided
Satons.
we are each other's last bus stop, please. He actually told me you're my last bus stop. So second and last, finally. We went for counseling.
Mm.
And the counseling wasn't just with one person. Traditionally, people just go for counseling depending on the kind of background you're from, with one person. That one person, that's just their own experience. There were like about 10 or 15 couples, people who were planning to get married, and it was for about 10 or 12 sessions. By the time we were finished, some people decided that they were not married.